My personal comic collection numbers around 5,000 comic books. I was floored recently to find out that I'm part owner of what could be the largest comic collection in the world. If you want to find out more about this collection, stay tuned. Anachronic. Hey comic book guys and gals, I'm Joe and welcome to Anachronic Comics. So I'm fortunate to have saved at least 1,000 or so comics from my youth in the 1960s. Such comics I bought such as Spider-Man number 5, Fantastic Four number 3, X-Men number 2, and Avengers number 4, all are bagged and boarded in my PC. Now, I don't have Action Comics number 1, Detective Comics number 27, or Fantastic Four number 1 or Amazing Fantasy number 15 in my PC. But I recently found out that I am part owner of all these comics. And if you're a US citizen, so are you. What may be the largest collection of comic books in the United States is housed in the newspaper and current periodical reading room of the Library of Congress in Washington, D.C. According to information from the library, the collection includes more than 12,000 titles consisting of US and foreign comic books. They total more than 140,000 individual comic books. Most of the comic books are print issues, with some early books on color microfiche and some very early books donated by publishers like DC as bound volumes. The collection is most comprehensive from the mid-1940s on. However, many titles date back to the 1930s. So how did this collection get so big and keeps on getting bigger? Sure, as mentioned, there have been donations of bound volumes and some individual comic books. But the Library of Congress has a real smooth racket going on here. One that neither you nor I could do, but boy, I wish I could. In connection with copywriting material, individual comic books are required to be submitted with the paperwork. Ever think what the U.S. Copyright Office does with these books? You guessed it, they give them to the Library of Congress. Sweet, just think about it. You're just hanging out and get comic books delivered to you for free. In case you're concerned that these comics are sitting around just deteriorating, no worries. The library has a system in place which is intended to save paper-based material. The treatment neutralizes the acid content and prevents any further deterioration and effectively extends the life of the paper. It's better than what I have in place for my collection, that's for sure. So back to ownership. By virtue of being citizens of the United States, we are all co-owners of the collection. Sorry, Canadians or people in Europe, you don't count in this case. But that's really cool, right? So I took a look at the online catalog and I saw a number of books that I ideally wanted to hold in my hands. So I went to the Library of Congress website to fill out a request form to go down to Washington, D.C. and to look for these issues. No go, comic book guys and gals. The form pointed me to the following note on their website. Accessing the collection. In part because of their fragility, comic books are available to researchers for use under special conditions only. Generally, access is limited to serious collectors, examining specific titles, and those doing research of a specific nature, leading towards a publicly available work. The collection has been used by researchers as varied as film scriptwriters, popular culture historians, avid collectors, and graphic artists. So, no problem, right? After all, I'm an avid collector, right? And I have a YouTube channel. So back to the form. I started to fill it out, and I saw this statement on the request form. Please help us care for our comic book collection. We want it to be enjoyed now and in the future. If a facsimile, microfilm or digital, is available for any original material, it will be served in place of the original material unless the nature of the research requires exclusive use of the physical artifact. So, it appears that just wanting to hold Action Comics number 1 in my gloved hands is not sufficient reason to permit me to do so. They obviously didn't understand the nature of my research. So I can't hold Action Comics #1, Detective Comics 27, or Fantastic Four #1 in my hands, only a facsimile. Big deal, I can do that now. I guess our citizen ownership rights only go so far. But I can still say I own, actually co-own, with an additional 330 million people, a copy of Action Comics #1, right? Incidentally, if you're interested in seeing the Library of Congress collecting guidelines for comics, I've placed a link in the description. So that's the video. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Be well, and I'll see you soon.